What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Today is the day for my first Q&A. A couple days ago I asked people for questions and I got more than I expected. I was honestly expecting like 2 or 3 questions at most, but hey, I was surprised. And so I got a number of questions. I'm going to answer all of them in this video. And for some reason, it feels like YouTube has sort of hidden some comments, but I can't find them. I've checked everywhere. So if I happen to miss your question, I apologize. It's not intentional. It's just YouTube is playing, the funny, weird game. The first question comes from Superior 2K. He says, who are your top 5 artists of all time and of new school? Top 5 projects of all time. I'm going to combine the first 2 questions, so just give you a top 5 artists of all time. Maybe even not even 5. I've been thinking about it, but it's hard to get like 5 definitive artists when you listen to so much music. And I think that's the same with projects. So trying to come up with 5, I got LL Cool J. I got Ice Cube. You have to throw Lil Wayne in there. He's made some of the best music ever. Then it starts to get hard. I would put Biggie in there because he, even though he has a small catalog, he pretty much has a flawless one at that. So what, that's 4. A 5th one. You could probably throw like a Kanye or a Kendrick. I think Kendrick is a little premature, but he'll definitely be there one day. And that's what I came up with. So those are my top 5 that I could think of right now. Top 5 projects of all time. Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted. Biggie's Life After Death. The best 2-disc album of all time. Just flawless all around. You play that start to finish. Disc 1, start to finish disc 2. And you're just going to get an amazing body of work that really hasn't... It's aged gracefully. What else would I throw on my top 5 projects list? Kanye West, 808s and Heartbreaks. That album really hits home. It got me through some rough times back in 2008 and 2009. It's getting me through some rough times now. I probably listen to Pinocchio Story almost more than any song this year so far. So that's 3. This is where it starts to get hard. It gets tough to figure out more albums. And so I'm going to bow out at 3. If I can come up with 2 more later, then I'll include them in the comment section. But really right now I can't think of those definitive albums that I just play all the time start to finish. There's a few of them. But like I said, once you get to 3 or 4, then it starts to get tough. Eric Trent, his question was, what are your top 5 artists of all time? I answered that, so we got that one out of the way. And then some collabs you want to hear in 2017. So this was the comment that inspired my video yesterday. I asked, what collaborations are you looking forward to in 2017, or which ones do you want to happen? And so I did a whole video themed around that. I had Jay-Z and Zaytoven, I had Gucci Mane and YG, and 3 others on there. So you can check that video out. I'll include it in the description section. And I just felt like that was one of the questions that you kind of have to expand on. You can't just go in and say, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. I wanted to expand my thoughts and explain why I would put these pairings together. Next up is from the Silver Phoenix. He asked, what is your favorite Chris Brown project, and will you be reviewing HOAFM? For a second I had to Google that because I was like, wait, what is that? And then I got it. It's Heartbreak on a Full Moon. That will be Chris Brown's next album. To simply answer, yes. I like Chris Brown a lot, so I will be reviewing all of his albums as long as I'm running this channel. As for my favorite Chris Brown album, it has to be X. It's one of those few albums, one of the few exceptions where 20 plus tracks is actually acceptable. I listened to the album and there's very few material that I would skip on there. Lady in a Glass Dress, and I'm so glad that he released a full version last year. I believe it was like October, but there's a full version out there. It just felt like a really great song. You have Fine China, which I would never say that Chris Brown is a new Michael Jackson. There is no new Michael Jackson, but you can definitely hear the influence from MJ on that record. The one with Kendrick, there's one with Brandy, and even though I don't like Loyal, you can't deny that it was a big hit. One with Usher and Rick Ross. Like I'm thinking of the collaborations and not connecting with the song titles. It's been a while since I listened to the album, but X is my favorite Chris Brown album, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. The next question comes from Eric Koback. He asked, how did you get into journalism and what age did you get into hip-hop? The age that I got into hip-hop, I would say it was like 95, 96. And that was like my introduction. My dad used to work at a restaurant, and so I would have to go there during the day. This is like, what was I? I was like 4 or 5 or 6 at the time. I was born in 91, so to kind of do the math, it's like 4 or 5, depending on the year. So he would take me to work, and I would go and have this little section, this little desk area. I'd play with my action figures and listen to the radio. Cube 93 is was our hip hop and R&B station. So that was my first introduction. I started buying albums probably 98, 99. I believe the first album I got was NSYNC's debut album. And I remember the first explicit hip hop album that I got was Nelly's Country Grammar. And I had to hide my explicit albums from my mom because she didn't want me to have these albums. My dad knew. My dad was fine with buying me these, but my mom didn't find out until we had a big earthquake in, I believe, 2001. And all my CDs, wherever they were at the time, kind of fell over. And so she saw these albums. She wasn't that mad. Probably a little bit disappointed, but that right there, those are some of my earliest memories. My dad has a huge CD collection. I have more than him now, but back then he had a ton, like a lot of West Coast stuff. Too Short, Ice Cube, Mac 10, Dub C. He has Body and Soul, those albums, and that's really how I got into like some old school R&B stuff. So that was like my introduction. And even prior to Nelly's Country Grammar, I did have some hip hop albums that are edited. For some strange reason, in no way in a million years would I ever buy this again, but I have an edited version of Eminem's The Marshall Mathers LP. It's probably the one album that you're questioning, like, why was an edited version made? Every other word is like a cuss. So it's like, I don't even know why they would make this. As for how I got into journalism, January 10th, 2008, I started a blog. Sermon's Domain. Sermon being my high school nickname. I got it from the movie 8 Mile. This dude at school called me Eric Sermon, the generic version, because my real name is Eric. And so it was meant as, like to clown someone, Eric Sermon, the generic version, the line from 8 Mile. And then it just got shortened to Eric Sermon, then E Sermon, and then finally Sermon. So Sermon, that's where the origins come from. Telling a bunch of stories right now. The domain part comes from Max B's Public Domain 2. It had just came out that past December, and I was big on Max B at the time, so it just kind of fit together. So I started this blog spot, and I didn't have any connections in the industry. I'm out here in Seattle. There really wasn't that much of a hip-hop scene out in Seattle. There was a little bit, but there really wasn't too much. So I just posted on this blog. And I came before a lot of people, so it was just great timing, and I was able to network with a lot of people over the years, and build and be honored to interview like some of my idols and some of the new artists that were coming along. I was the first blog to ever support Mac Miller, and we've been rocking ever since. I think that's another reason for my success was I was supporting a bunch of up-and-coming artists where a lot of blogs were just posting the new 50 Cent, the new, Kendrick Lamar. Really, Kendrick wasn't, too popular back then. But whoever was popular in like 2008, 2009, the T-Pains, the Kanyes, those are the people that were getting the most support. And so I was kind of mixing it up. I was supporting them, but I was also building relationships with new artists. So that's how I got into journalism. And around May of 2015, I decided to stop running Sermons Domain, the blog. It just wasn't growing it wasn't growing the way that I needed it to grow. And because of that, I just felt like I was stagnant. I hit the ceiling and I wasn't going to go any higher. So I decided to go and try my luck freelance. And I had a couple months at DJ Booth. I wrote for the Smoking Section and Up Rocks for a while. I wrote for Hip Hop Early for about 2 years before some, BS happened over the summer. I've done a few freelance pieces on Billboard, Genius, and I think Hot New Hip Hop. There's a couple. But now I've kind of moved away from journalism. It's just not what it used to be. The blog era was so much fun to me. I missed that era so much. But now it's like I don't want to compromise my writing and have to post about this is what the Kardashians did and what they're wearing, and this is what Soulja Boy has to say about 50 Cent sticking up for Chris Brown. It's like, it's just stupid to me. I hate all that type of stuff. So I wanted to be creative, but unfortunately I just felt like there wasn't too many opportunities. So I'm writing a book. Slowly but surely I'm going to write a hip hop book, and that might be the last real piece of journalism work that I ever do. I want to move more into the direction of social media and digital marketing, and continue running this YouTube channel and watch it grow. And I'm fully aware that I'm overly answering these questions. I just wanted to give everybody like the background, because when I thought about these answers, these are the thoughts that came up. I felt like I had to give more background so you guys know more about me. I think that's what the Q&A is all about. My dude, Akash. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, because I've been trying to figure it out, and some names are easy to say, some aren't. So Akash Sharma, my dude from Hip Hop and More. Great writer, phenomenal writer. You should definitely check out some of his work on hiphopandmore.com. He asked, what's your favorite piece you've ever written and why? Excluding our ageism one, because of my involvement, of course. So me and him wrote a piece for Hip Hop and More about ageism in hip hop. It was kind of like a discussion back and forth, and it was really cool. I like that piece a lot. As for my favorite journalism piece ever, it's just difficult. I've written so much over the years, from being on Medium to my DJ Booth days, and I wrote so much. I was writing daily on DJ Booth, like long form stuff, not just like 2-paragraph, this is a new song. No, these were fully fleshed out ideas about news, about all kinds of topics. So there was a lot. For my DJ Booth days, one of the ones that sticks out to me is the rise and fall of the freestyle. As you know, rappers don't really freestyle as much as they used to. And I'm not talking about like the off the dome freestyle. I'm talking about like taking somebody's beat and freestyling it over it. Like a Milli. There's like a billion different versions of a Milli. And now you have like the biggest songs like Black Beatles and Bad and Bougie. These are not being freestyled over and remixed countless times anymore. That's just not the time that we live in. So that was a good piece. I did a timeline of Jay Electronica's Act 2, like all the announcements, like him signing to Rock Nation, him saying the album is coming, here's a track listing leak. It was fun. It was a lot of research, but it was fun research. So those two pieces are standing out the most for DJ Booth. Overall, I think interviewing LL Cool J for Billboard was just one of the best highlights, because we had a 20-minute conversation. It was just incredible. I wrote a lot of great stuff on Medium as well. One of the best ones on there was kind of contrasting Frank Ocean's 2 albums and how they represented 2 different worlds. And I felt like that was a great piece because it really allowed me to be creative. I think any piece that I've done that allows me to be creative was one that deserves to be highlighted. And if you're interested in seeing some more of my journalism work, I have a portfolio that includes various links to some of my best work. And I'll include that so you can read that if you want to check it out. Whew. So man, I am talking a lot. This video is long, so I'm going to kind of power through a few of the questions. Some of them don't require as much thought as the other ones, but I'm going to get through some of these. So Tristan Waldron says, if you had to pick between these two shows to watch for 3 months and you can only watch these shows, which would you pick? Hey Arnold or Dragon Ball Z? That's easy. Hey Arnold. It was one of my favorite shows. And I've never gotten into Dragon Ball Z like that. People look at me crazy when I say I like Dragon Ball GT more. And you're probably thinking I'm crazy, and that's perfectly fine. I have a longer explanation for why I like GT. The short answer is I felt like GT didn't have any filler, and it was just a great 2 seasons. So I like GT more. Not to take away from Z, but I don't think I really ever got into Z as much. So to answer the question, Hey Arnold, without a doubt, I would soak up the life lessons for 3 months and just enjoy it. Some of the best characters in cartoon history are on that show. Daryl Brown asks, who do you think was TDE's secret artist? I feel like this case is like open and shut. The artist has to be Sir, because you saw Kendrick supporting him. You had like all the TDE supporting him, and he's worked with TDE artists over the years, so it's like you just know. I think at this point I would be very shocked if it wasn't. And I also don't understand the whole idea behind having an artist on your label release a project secretly. It just doesn't make sense. A lot of stuff that TDE does marketing wise doesn't make sense to me. Black TV asks, where do you live? Seattle, Washington. Born and raised. I'm hoping to move out to New York or to LA sometime this year. Maybe, we'll see. But Seattle is home for me. Next up is Giovanni Garcia. He has 2 questions. What do you see the next trend in the rap game being? I think we're already experiencing it. Collaboration albums. We're seeing an influx of collaboration albums being announced and being released. And it's getting to a point to where some of them are very unwarranted. I would love to see Drake and Kanye just to see what they can do. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But I also don't ever want to see Fabulous and Trey Songz again, or Bow Wow and Soulja Boy. Like, there's just some that are just very unnecessary, and they don't really have an effect. I think the art of doing a collaboration album is that both artists are in their prime, are very much buzzing, they have chemistry, and that's the purpose of them. It's supposed to get you hyped because this is something that really wasn't supposed to happen. And I'm all for collaboration albums if they're good, but if they're not, then I just don't want them. But I do feel like we're going to get more collaboration albums down the road. It's something that we'll see continue as artists try to get paid attention to. Artists want that attention, and in a day and age where it's hard to sell albums, this is going to get people excited, and it leads to touring opportunities. So you see all these different effects because of collaboration albums, but that's a trend that comes to mind. The other question that Giovanni has is, what do you think Earl Sweatshirt will be remembered for when he retires? I'm not a fan of Earl. So it's hard to say like what his legacy will be when he retires. I think he's still creating it. I'm waiting to be a fan because I'm giving them the opportunities, I'm giving them the chances, the shots, but nothing really connected. There was this one long song project, if you want to call it that. It's like 10 minutes long. I can't remember the title, but it's like Earl at his lowest. And you listen to the lyrics, and they just jumped out at me. So that was like the one thing from Earl that I really enjoyed. I think Earl, he speaks for a generation of people that are depressed, that don't want to go outside and do anything, that want to be a little bit rebellious. I think that's what he represents now, and it remains to be seen what his legacy will be in the long run. Kane Will says, what is your favorite kid show growing up? This is also the last question. So my favorite kid shows growing up, I was a Nickelodeon baby. So Hey Arnold, Doug, Rugrats, Ah Real Monsters, all that. Double Dare, Guts, all those game shows. Aside from Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network was, they had some great shows. Ed, Edd n Eddy, Codename Kids Next Door. What else did they? Dexter's Lab. Even Powerpuff Girls. Don't front, Powerpuff Girls was fire, and I'll still watch some Powerpuff Girls on any day of the week. And then also like Fox Kids. They had it on lock. Back then you had Pokemon coming out. You had Yu-Gi-Oh! Just starting. Those first 2 seasons are just classic. And then my favorite kids show of all time has to be Spider-Man, the animated series. In my later years, I've grown to really appreciate X-Men, but at the time, Spider-Man was my show. I love that show so much. I watched the hell out of it. I still watch it from time to time. So Spider-Man is my all-time favorite, and then you got all the Nickelodeon, all the Cartoon Network ones. I can't think of any others that jump out that I was watching back then. There's other shows that were around, but I didn't really appreciate them until I was older, such as like Batman, the animated series. That I started watching maybe like 5 years ago. So that concludes the first Q&A. If you have more questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comment section. And if I didn't get to your question for whatever reason in this video, I apologize. I'm sorry. You can ask it again. I'm free to answer it. Thank you guys for watching, for submitting questions. I hope we can do this again, I don't know, 6 months, next year. It just depends. I want to see the growth of the channel and, you know, see where we go from there. So thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for being here, watching these videos, liking these videos, commenting on these videos. Follow me on Twitter at Sermons Domain, and there's really no other thing to say except peace.